But
much nerdier crowd.
Much nerdier crowd. Glasses on and stuff. All right. But we got things to do over here, and we got a great show, man. We got Randy Miller of The Athletic today at 11. We got BG Brandon Gustafson is going to join us at 12, talk some baseball. And then the legend himself, Alofa Tutupu, will join us at 1 o'clock, man. Lots of stuff to do today, and we are going to start with the Seattle Seahawks. The combine gets started today. The big boys take the field, linebackers, defensive linemen. They're going to do their drills, have their interviews, but we're going somewhere else. We're going to start with the quarterbacks and how it relates to the Seahawks. Now, word on the street is the Seahawks met with Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels. They got the number 16 pick. They have a quarterback. You might have a backup quarterback, but we know John Schneider yesterday had some interesting things to say. All right, we'll get back to it. Anyway, he goes, look, man, over the past 14 years, they've only drafted 2 quarterbacks, and they're not proud of that. But it's a new day. You got a new head coach. John Schneider has always had power, but I feel like his voice is a bit louder, and they met with Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels. What does that tell you about the Seahawks, Schneider, and the quarterback position?
It tells me right now that as much as, we think things are settled with Geno, they're always looking. They're always looking for something else. That's just kind of how it is at the quarterback spot when you've got a quarterback already in the fold that's, 30 years old that's looking to, you're looking to potentially figure out that spot for the long haul. And Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels are 2 of the top 3 quarterback prospects in this year's draft. I look at, J.J. McCarthy's name has been linked to the Seahawks too, especially because Mike McDonald coached him in a roundabout way. He was on the defensive side of the ball. McCarthy was on the offensive side of the ball for the Wolverines a couple of years ago. So there's history there with McDonald, but also there's history bump with another assistant on the Seahawks coaching staff with LSU's Jayden Daniels, and that is offensive assistant Zach Hill for the Seahawks quality control coach too, who was recently hired. He was Jayden Daniels' offensive coordinator at Arizona State in 2020 and 2021. So there's familiarity there with Jayden Daniels. Now, as we know, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, the coaching staff is not in town in Indianapolis. They're here in Renton, working on installs, getting familiar with each other, whereas the front office and the scouting staff and John Schneider, they're all in Indianapolis with boots on the ground. So, the familiarity with some of the coaching staff and these quarterback prospects, it's not going to come out in person. But when I saw yesterday from Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network say that the Seahawks had met with Jayden Daniels, that got me to raise one eyebrow. When I saw later on in the day,
I told you guys in the past.
When I saw later on in the day that they met with Drake Maye, that got me to raise my other eyebrow. Kind of like, oh, these are not, the quarterbacks that are going to be available in rounds 2, 3, and 4. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Joe Milton, guys like that. No, these are guys that are going to go probably top 5. And I don't know about you, Bump, but that to me was a bit of an eyebrow raiser yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. It leaves all the possibilities open, right? We know that they have the 16 pick. We know that Geno's not going to be here for 5 to 10 years just off of his age alone. And we know that John Schneider is great at evaluating the quarterback. So why wouldn't they bring these guys in? The question is, and you posed this question, Curtis, how do they get a guy like Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye? So you threw out some situations, how Bryce Young got to be a Panther out there, right? So break the whole scenarios down, and how do you think the Hawks would acquire such talents as Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels?
Well, I don't think they're going to go number 1 overall. Now, there is a ESPN football analyst that does think Jayden Daniels is worthy of the number 1 overall pick. We might get to it here in this segment, but Bryce Young last year went number 1 overall. The Panthers traded up. Their package included the number 9 overall pick, a second-round pick in 2023, which is something the Seahawks don't have in the 2024 draft, and then the following year's first and second-round picks, and then also DJ Moore, an established wide receiver. So that's what landed Carolina the number 1 overall pick from Chicago in exchange for DJ Moore, 2 first-round picks, a 2023 second, and a 2025 second-round pick. So that is a substantial haul that the Bears got for Bryce Young. I don't think the Seahawks could match that because they don't have a second-round pick this year. You're probably going to have to trade, obviously, pick 16. You're probably going to have to trade your 2025 first. And who knows what that 2026 first could end up being, or maybe you throw in a 2025 second. Like, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny if you want to move up to where these guys are going to be drafted. San Francisco, you look at their trade up for Trey Lance, they sent the number 12 pick in 2021, the number 29 pick in 2022, and the number 30 pick in 2023, plus an additional third-round pick in 2022. So 3 firsts and a third to move up to number 3 for Trey Lance. That potentially could be a package that the Seahawks do because it didn't involve any second-round picks. It just involved a 3 firsts and a third. And then Justin Fields, the Bears moved up from pick number 20 to pick number 11. They sent the number 20 overall pick, number 164 in 2021, and then the pick that became the number 7 overall pick in 2022, and the number 112 pick in 2022. So 2 firsts, and I believe that's a third and a fourth. So that's another package that potentially the Seahawks could do. What I'm getting at here, Bump, is that it's not simply going to be pick 16 and like tack on another pick.
Right.
Whatever it is that this team that the Seahawks potentially could be trading with, you're looking at kind of like Washington, New England. I wouldn't look at Arizona as a potential trade spot because, I mean, it's a division rival. You don't want to give your division rivals too much ammo. So Washington, New England kind of look to me like the most likely trade destinations. Of those two teams, Bump, I think New England is more in need of a quarterback right now because of the year that Sam Howell had. I mean, yeah, he had a penchant for turnovers, but I think he threw for over 4,000 yards. So when I look at the top of the draft, Bump, are you seeing any opportunities for the Seahawks to trade up to take one of these guys that they interviewed yesterday?
Here's the thing, man. I look at the position that the Hawks are in the same way I look at the salary cap, right? There's always a way. It's just, what do you want to do with it? If you are in the negative with the salary cap, you talk to your financial guy. He's going to figure some things out, restructure some contracts, and you'll be in the green. I'll look at this situation here, and I go, if you really want to move up and grab a guy, I think that you can, even though we think picks 1, 2, and 3 are going to go quarterbacks. It's going to be tough, okay? But there's always a way. I just don't think that is likely. The thing that surprises me the most about this thing is just the ascend of Jayden Daniels, man. I remember when he was over there with Arizona State Forks down. Okay, especially because they just
Forks
beat
down,
us the
yeah.
other day, our Cougs.
Oh,
And
that's right.
you know how you ain't got no love for him. So I ain't got no love for him. Then he goes over to LSU, and he just tears it up. Running the football, throwing the football, accounted for over 40 touchdowns last year, 30 on the ground, double digits when it comes to running the rock. He is skyrocketing. He's the most interesting one to me because all this offseason, we've been talking about Caleb Williams. We've been talking about number 1 pick. Who's going to grab him? Are the Commanders going to make a move? But all of a sudden, guys are talking about Jayden Daniels moving up to number 1.